All right, here we go now, starting class number 2 at session 2 of Super Pull 14. The 5,800-pound two-wheel drive trucks. Mike Snyder, this is always an exciting class because of the variety of equipment that we have, the wild driving that it takes, and the tremendous paint jobs and neat-looking stuff like we see on the roads many times.
Yeah, Dave, these are all full-bodied vehicles. They only have one engine in them. You don't really see too many multiple motors, but they're just like the tractors. They stand up in the air. You drive them with individual rear brakes, and it's a real exciting class.
Here. All right, the track officials have deemed necessary. They're going to restart the class. They feel that they cut them awful short, and they want to get them a little further down the track. So Chuck Johnson of Kansas is going to get another shot at it. Now, Mike, the puller has several options when he is the test puller in the class. Would you please explain those options?
Well, he can, if the track officials decide to make a change on the sled, the number 1 puller, the test puller, can come back and make another hook immediately if his engine isn't too hot and he feels maybe that he doesn't want to wait till later on in the class. He can drop back 6 places and give his equipment a chance to cool off, or if he has mechanical problems, he can drop clear to last place.
All right, Chuck Johnson decided to come right back. Now here he goes again. He's lifting up again. He's doing a big wheel as he comes down the track. Almost a very straight run, though. This time you can see he's heading right for one of our cameras rather than further right of us, and this looks like a much further run. The distance for Chuck Johnson, 209.8. 209.8. Here's Nolan Hall, and I love the name of this one. I've announced pulls all around the country, and these guys are come up with some unique names. And the Lone Ranger, of course, is spelled a little bit differently. Mike, you don't go to your local banker and get a loan on a machine like this.
No, not hardly, Dave. They think it's a bad investment.
But I tell you, for the fans up in the stands, they love this sport. Nolan Hall out of Mason, Michigan in 1985. This is a Ford Ranger, the smaller body.
Again, it's been stretched out. They're just, they try to get that length out there. You have to really be competitive.
He's not running a Ford engine, though, Mike.
No, not by any means.
He's running a Rodec engine, which they had extracted out of one of their pulling tractors, and it had some engine problems this past season. I hope they've got everything all fixed up. They've got a triple engine tractor that they run up in Michigan quite a bit at the time, along with Scott Baker and Nolan Hall, 2 of the best in the business. He's followed the NTPA and TNT circuits around the country, always competitive, and the fans get a kick out of seeing Fords in the class because normally the classes are dominated by Chevys. We've got Dave Hager's old Ironside sled on the track right now. Ron Hickson, who you just saw in your picture there, is the operator of the other sled, the decision maker that we've always used, or already used rather, in some of the classes. So here we go now, the distance to beat. Chuck Johnson in the lead at 209.8. And here comes the 1985 Ford Ranger of Nolan Hall as he comes off the line. A little bit of a rocky start, the pan bouncing up and down. Now it begins to lift a little bit, lifting very nicely. Looks like he's got it properly weighted. Now he does a big wheel. You can see all the weights hanging out in the front. And he burns her to a hold at 199.4, the laser says. All right, here's Leo Kane out of Bradford, Pennsylvania. We've already seen his tractor. Here comes his two-wheel drive funny Corvette, the Driller also, as he calls it. Mike, this is radical.
Yeah, it is, Dave. It doesn't hardly look like a Corvette anymore, but it's definitely one of the strongest units in this class.
And I believe it was just a year ago, wasn't it, when he had the Corvette body on at the 1986 event, and he had taken off and changed the body completely off of the Chevrolet truck and put the Corvette body on. And, of course, the Corvette fans, the Chevrolet fans up in the crowd really enjoy something like that. He's running the areas as we get another look at it here as he comes off the line. He's had some problems at just getting the right amount of speed and getting locked into the track, though, over the last year.
Yeah, and it looked like right there he might have had just a little bit of trouble. He didn't quite get the start that he was looking for.
Leo K's 195.6. From Hanoverton, Ohio, here's Terry Rodebush, just about 20 miles east of Canton, Ohio, in a 1973 Chevrolet. And here's a guy that's been very consistent no matter where he goes. And, Mike, would you say that consistency is maybe as important as winning a pull now and then?
I'd say so, Dave. If you're going out and you're running for the national championship, you don't have to win every pull all year, but you've got to be right in there in the top 3 or 4 all year long. And if you can do that, I can almost guarantee you that you look awful good at the end of the season.
Now, by the noise, of course, of the engines, all these engines in this class, I believe just about 100% of them are running supercharged motors.
Right. In fact, almost all the classes in pulling are either turbocharged or supercharged, with the exception of the four-wheel drive.
All right, here comes Terry now, coming down the track. He's got to make it a smooth run. Oh, he lifts up very quickly. Awful high wheelie, Mike. And he might have gone just sky high too quick. He needed, what, another 100 pounds out in the front?
Yeah, another 100 pounds would have helped him, but he had good speed coming down the track. So
He did have good speed at that, but he's going to be short at 195.4, just 2/100 short of Lee OK. Everybody's favorite, even if you're a Chevrolet fan, Mike. Here's the Florida Cracker, literally a wild and crazy guy. He's gone gator hunting. He's got his own airboat in Florida. From Gator Country, here comes the incomparable Chris Poledorf. This is the 1987 Ford Aerostar van, and he's always coming up with something different, something unique, and at the same time, he's got to be reckoned with in this class. He is tough.
Yes, he is, Dave. For a power plant, Chris uses what they call an AR Ford. It's a Ford engine, but it's built by Arias. In fact, you could even go to your local Ford dealer and buy one of these right over the counter.
Would you say that this would be a similar engine to what they run in NASCAR?
Yes, very close.
All right, Bill Elliott might have had a similar motor to this one, but this is one is supercharged. Elliott's would only be naturally aspirated. Here we come. Gator Country's Chris Poledorf, the Florida Cracker. He's coming down the track. He's looking good. He lifts nice. The back tires are biting in. He's getting a good bite. He's coming close. This is going to be close for the lead. The 87 van from Winter Park, Florida for Chris Poledorf, 2:13.2, and he takes the lead. Here's Floyd Hilton, and I tell you, I believe this is an 81 Dodge Omni, Mike.
Yes, I think it is.
But by looking at this, you wouldn't believe it.
No, Floyd is a former tractor puller. He used to run a twin-engine modified, and when the two-wheel drive classes started becoming real popular, he now has two vehicles in the two-wheel drive classes.
Floyd Hilton out of Winamac, Indiana, 81 Dodge Omni. And I tell you, it's a wild paint job. Some of these guys coming up, especially in the two-wheel drive classes, making them look like the funny cars, the funny trucks that you would see on the drag strips around the country. Except the big difference, these weigh a lot more than a drag racer would be.
Yeah, they do. And in tractor pulling, everything is classed according to weight, not how many engines you have or what kind of engines you have. It's the total weight of the machine and driver. Of course, in drag racing, you try to get your machine as light as possible. In tractor pulling or in any sort of pulling, it's the weight of the machine. The weight of the machine, exactly.
All right, Chris Poledorf in the lead at 2:13.2. This will be one of two Hilton rigs in. His son Ed will be back a little bit later from Star City, Indiana with a 52 Chevy. I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, just a classic piece of equipment.
All right, a little bit like the In-Laws and Outlaws also. Here we come now, and he's got to really nail it and hopefully have it properly balanced. Floyd will come close to winning a pull. He's not always in the winner circuit, but here again, another one of those guys is very consistent. We see him at Fort Recovery, Columbus, Ohio, all the pulls in the Midwest, and he's starting to travel quite a bit. And a very likable guy. I tell you, as he says on his T-shirt, almost famous, Floyd Hilton. And he gets a little bit over to the right-hand side as you see the butterflies shut down, and the distance for Floyd Hilton, 195 even. A near-capacity crowd watching the action here this afternoon in our second class in Session 2 at the Indiana State Fairgrounds Coliseum for Super Pull 14, the granddaddy of them all, the most prestigious event in the country. Even though there's been pulls maybe that have been held longer, this is the one the pullers want to win, Mike, because there's more money posted here to win than any other event in the country, nearly $130,000. And here's a guy that's got a shot at winning this class, Wayne Roush. We call him the Doctor from Columbus, Ohio.
That's right. Does this truck look a little bit different to you than when we've seen it this past summer? I think they've lengthened it about 2 or 3 feet. It seems to be a lot longer than I remember this truck.
That's right. He had it out of Tim Engler's shop for a couple of weeks, getting lengthened. Here again, as you said earlier, you need that leverage. Wayne Roush, a former professor at Ohio State University in dairy science, also a former dairy farmer. He has his bachelor's degree, his master's degree, his Ph.D. from Ohio State, now turned professional two-wheel drive truck puller. Good friends of Bobby Rahal and Jim Head, who builds the race cars and is a racer in NHRA competition, also does the work on the engine here. Here comes Wayne Roush now from Dublin, Ohio, the 1986 Little Red Dodge truck. He's looking good, coming right down the center of the track, and certainly, Mike, it looks like lengthening the truck has helped because he moves in at 2:07.1. Here comes the other Gator. This time it's the 1986 Ford pickup truck. Chris Poledorf, who's already in the lead right now at 2:13.2. is going to get another shot. Now, of course, you always like to have 2 vehicles if you can, or even more if your pocketbook can afford it, because you've got just more shots at moving the flag. So what he'd like to do is even beat his leading distance of 2:13 and 2. Now, can we say that this truck is a little shorter on wheelbase, or is it about the same?
Well, this is one of the first 2-wheel drives that Chris come out with. And, of course, when he built his new Aerostar, you know, they realized that the length was the answer, and it had to be in there.
Here he comes. Boy, he's getting way back on those 2 wheels, doing a real high wheelie. But here's one of the trucks that can run quick down the track.
With his front end that high in the air.
That's unusual, isn't it? And the distance for Poledorf, he's going to come a little short of his leading run, 2:12 and 6. We were talking about Ed and Floyd Hilton. Here comes Floyd's son, Edward Hilton, out of Star City, Indiana. 52 Chevy. This will bring back some memories. However, not for me, Mike. All right. I believe this was what they called a business panel van. This isn't a milk truck or anything like that. It was a business panel van, sort of a delivery truck that maybe groceries would have been delivered in back in '52. Right now, his dad has a distance of 195. Doesn't look like any full pulls in this class unless somebody pulls off a miraculous run.
That's right, Dave. This was the original 2-wheel drive puller that Floyd built, and then just this past season he come out with these new funny cars.
Well, he's got a good run going. Here's son Edward Hilton. Many of the guys have been sliding over toward the right-hand side of the track as the driver looks at it. You can see his entry number out there in the front. Beautiful purple-violet paint job out there. The distance, 191 and 1, so he falls about 4 feet short of his dad. All right, Mike, as Kenny Lamont, the final puller here in the class, pulls out onto the track from Crossville, Illinois. Sort of a sad note in this class. 2 competitors were unable to come to the line. Dan Biebrick and Jim Brock, one of the in-laws and the outlaws pulling team here in the 5,800-pound 2-wheel drive, because we understand from the pits they missed the drivers' meeting and were not allowed to hook here in this class. We hope that they'll be back on Sunday afternoon in the heavier weight class. So here we go now. The final competitor is Go-Go. The TNT Gorilla goes out trying to give some encouragement.
Wonder where he got those shorts he's wearing. Suppose Chris Poledorf brought them up for him.
He didn't get them out of my dresser, I guarantee it. Probably out of Poledorf's. The Midnight Express, Kenny Lamont, a farmer, farms about 2,000 acres of corn and soybeans, and Carolyn Lamont and their children are here watching this afternoon. It's the El Camino 1985 El Camino. To beat Poledorf, he's got to pass 2:13 and 2. This is for all the marbles. This is for all the money. This is for the prestige.
Got a real good start out of the hole, Dave. It lifted good.
And I tell you, oh, he's up high. He's up way high. I don't know if he can do it. It's going to take a miraculous run, but it's going to be close. He's looking back over there, looking at the flagman. He says, I've got a chance. Oh, now his fist comes up. Listen to this. He beats Poledorf by 4 feet exactly. 2:17 and 2, your winner. In the Midnight Express, Kenny Lamont out of Crossville, Illinois. Let's watch it one more time. All right, here he comes now. He's lifting, making a nice lift, Mike. A good run going.
Yeah, he did, Dave. He got a perfect start. The vehicle lifted soon after he left the starting line, and it just made an excellent pull.
He's a happy guy. The last puller in the class, we've seen it happen many other times. He wins the 5,800 2-wheel drive. All right, the final results in the 5,800-pound 2-wheel drive. The top 5 goes to Kenny Lamont, finishing number 1 with his El Camino 2:17 and 2. Number 2 goes to Chris Poledorf with his 87 Ford Aerostar van at 2:13 and 2. Number 3, Chris Poledorf with the Ford pickup truck at 2:12 and 6. Number 4, Chuck Johnson out of Kansas with the Chevy Love at 2:09 and 8. And Wayne Roush, the doctor from Dublin, Ohio, finishes number 5 with the 86 Dodge at 2:07 and 1.
This is probably one of the biggest wins I've had. This is one that I've always looked at since I was 12 years old, reading the Puller magazine and watching the Super Pull this and Super Pull that. That's why I left my foot in it. You know, there's no way tonight's purse, what I won, will pay if I would have destroyed that motor. But it's a prestige thing. It's something everybody wants to do once in their career.